New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas. In the United States, big cities get a lot of attention for obvious reasons. However, there are thousands upon thousands of small towns across the country. Their populations can range from a dozen to a few thousand. And when those little towns are off the big highways and interstates, they could often be missed, ignored, or forgotten. One of those small towns is Dannebrog, Nebraska. It isn't sitting right on a major highway, and the interstate is 30 to 40 miles away. But it is full of interesting people, and this town also has an interesting history. So let's talk a little bit about the Danish capital of Nebraska. Dannebrog is a small town located in Howard County, Nebraska. It has a population of around 300 people. Let's explore some of the fascinating history Dannebrog has to offer. In 1871, Danish immigrants who were a part of the Danish Land and Homestead Company from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, traveled to Oak Creek. This group was led by a man named Lars Hannibal, who named the town after the name of the flag of Denmark. The reason they settled near Oak Creek was due to the fertile soil of the location. Early on, the village had steady growth due to the construction of a water-powered grist mill. Regardless of the increasing population, Dannebrog was unsuccessful in trying to get a county seat in 1874. However, in 1885, a nearby railroad was built, which saved the town from disappearing. The reason Dannebrog was on the brink of disappearing was because of businesses moving to the town called Nysted. Dannebrog became incorporated a year later in 1886. Their population peaked in 1920, reaching 436 people. In 2024, the population may not be as high, but the community is still going strong. A lot of Dannebrog's necessities are found at the only store in town, Carrie's Grocery. This store is run by Carrie Lauritsen, who has anything locals could possibly need. Deli meat and cheese, dry and frozen goods, and so much more. This is Carrie Lauritsen speaking about what it's like to have the only grocery store in Dannebrog.
Well, you really got to know your customers, I guess. And, first of all, it's about knowing when to shut your mouth and not say the wrong thing to someone. And you remain, kind of neutral on all, like when someone comes in, and tries to get you started on something, you don't necessarily have you don't ekocide, I guess. You just remain neutral in all of your, your conversations. What you got to do is you got to cater to the, to the individual. If there's, things that do not have in, stock and whatnot, you just kind of make sure that you got everybody what they, have to, have. And, the size of the town, though, is only like about 360. So thank God there ain't, no other store.
And Carrie is such an influential part of the town that he actually has a nickname. He is commonly referred to as the Town Man, and here's why.
Well, it's probably because I've been here for so long. I think it's just because that I am, am here, I guess, all the time. And if they need, they want to know, who a mechanic is or where can I get, something done? Do I know, electrician and whatnot? Do I know this person? Do I know, it just seems like I get asked all kinds of things. I'm just who they always ask a lot. But I'm sure there is other people in town that get asked all that stuff, as well. So, I'm not, the only one.
So Dannebrog may have a store, but it also needs a place to store locals' money. Right across the street, you can find the only bank in town, the Dannebrog branch of the Archer Credit Union. This is the bank's manager, Don Webb, describing how their bank works and as well as who uses it.
Archer came in here and bought out it would have been Heritage Bank at that time, bought them out in 2009. So that's how long we've been here. We have majority would be ag loans. We also have a lot of like vehicle loans, personal loans, but we do commercial and we do home mortgages. We also do a lot of that too. So, well, it's helping the people. It's the people. We have generations of people that we have had as banking customers. We start with the little kids and, we keep them all through their teen years, the college years. And then, when they're coming back to us, when they're wanting to do home loans and a lot of people, the trending thing now, it seems to be a lot of people, to the children that have moved away, have gotten their education, worked in the working world a while, and then decided they want to move back here closer to their family. I think since COVID, that's been kind of a trend. And so we're getting a lot of those people back too.
There may only be one bank and one store in Dannebrog, but there's still plenty enough to do, and the environment can be described as easygoing and friendly.
I've lived in Dannebrog my whole life, so it's really good. Your neighbors. You have a lot of people are friends. We all kind of look out for each other, and it's good. You think people are maybe a little in your business, but I tell you what, if you need help or you need something like that, they're right there for you.
I kind of grew up, outside of town. I think probably there wouldn't be, any other spot, I guess, because, the small towns are just, easy going. And it was, I don't know, it was no problem. Well, we used to, we had like a pond that was probably, about a quarter of a mile from our house. We used to go down there all the time and kind of hang out. And then we had some neighbors who had a trampoline and a swimming pool. So we hung out, over there a lot.
We just lived 3 miles outside of town, east of town. My grandparents, great-grandparents, actually, my children are 6th generation, just like Carrie's kids are. And now he has 7th generation with great-grandkids. That they were Danish settlers that came out here and settled that out east of town. So that's where our family has been all this time. We've still all got some farm ground out there. The folks have the farm ground. And we spent all of our time, we would help Grandpa on the farm, spent a lot of time watering trees, planting trees. Larry has that orchard, yep. But a lot of windbreaks and things like that. We spent a lot of time flying kites out in the pastures, and we had Grandpa rented the land out to a fellow had some cattle, and he would bring horses up, and then so on the weekends we would go horseback riding. We did we'd go sledding up in the hills. We did ice skating. This was back when the weather used to be like it is now. It was fun. We did a lot of bike riding, and I don't think that we were ever on ball teams when we were kids, but we sure kept busy. You see people all the time, no matter what you're doing. People will stop and say hi when they're, they walk by your yard when they're walking their dogs or whatever, and it's, I don't know, you see people on a regular basis, and, we're kind of invested in each other's lives. We're, you're interested in what their grandkids are doing, or, they come around and sell the FFA fruit or whatever it is. And so, who belongs to who, and it's good. And you also know the things that I grew up with. My dad worked across the street at the gas station over there for all the years I was growing up. If there was something I was involved in, he knew before I ever told him. So there's responsibility that comes with that too, because everybody knows everybody, and they know your mom and your dad and your grandma, and so that's good too. There's nothing wrong with that. For the most part, it's fairly quiet. There's enough community celebrations that we get together, and people gather for things like that. We have small town ball teams, the local ball teams that people play on. The kids, everybody, you learn those as you grow up, and everybody takes their times with that. We have some small churches. There's 2 of them in town, another one that's close to outside of town. We're not too far from Grand Island if you want more to do. but it's nice to have the park and the basketball hoop at the church and things like that too. Small town.
You get to know, of course, all the neighbors and whatnot. It's like a super friendly environment, I guess, because then everybody knows everybody, and if your dog is out or something, someone calls to say, hey, I think you're, I mean, it's a real friendly environment.
It's just nice to have a little bit of slow down, a little peace and quiet. You're not fighting the traffic. You're not fighting the crowds, and you have some space to breathe.
Get out of the big, city. Because every time I go to Omaha, I think, I kind of like Omaha, but I don't want to stay there very long. I mean, I would like to come back home. Because, you just get tired of the traffic, and I don't know. Things are just a lot easier.
If you were to come out here in the summertime, we have the grocery stores open all the time. Hopefully we'll be getting the bar and grill back. There's a Danish bakery down here that serves a pizza on pizza night and fantastic baked goods all year round, normally. And then the ice cream shop, Dannebrog Delights, is open. We have the ball games, we have the park, we have the trail. You can just kind of chill out and relax a little bit. And then, of course, Carrie has the EV charging over here, too, so I buy in the store. So we've got that, and then we have the credit card and gas pumps down the street. So we got a little bit of everything. So
since the village of Dannebrog has a limited number of available jobs, a large margin of their community either farms or travels to a larger town or city to work.
There's like a handful of jobs, that are in town, but I suppose, probably 98%, there's quite a few, that farm, and but I think the majority of them, they drive, somewhere else to work.
Many big cities have a governing body known as the City Council. Dannebrog has something similar, except on a smaller scale. Their governing body is known as the Town Board, and they both do essentially the same thing.
Well, there's the county courthouse, but we have, like a board that I think they meet I'm not even sure what day it is. I think it's the first Monday of every month, I think. I kind of stay away from that. If I don't have anything to bring up, I just stay home.
Dannebrog may be a good place to live in, but it has had one significant setback within the last 5 years. That setback would be known as the flood of 2019.
Oh, that was quite a traumatic experience for all of us. This building here filled up. We have a full basement between both buildings, and that was full all the way to the rafters on that basement. We lost everything that was down there. There was 1.5 feet of water on this lower level, so that wiped out all of our office supplies, office spaces we had on this lower level. So we were actually only closed here not quite 5 full days. And during that time, we actually had a loan officer that was working out of Oak Street Manor. And that was kind of the command center and everything, but she had an office over there. We hooked her up with the internet and all that, and she was able to help people with low-interest loans to help them get started during that time. And that was, so I would say she was in there probably the 3rd day that we were closed here, and by the 5th day we were actually open in here again for business too.
Well, we actually evacuated ourselves to Grand Island, and we stayed at a hotel. I would suppose probably only maybe 10-20% of the town evacuated. Because there was volunteers and whatnot from all over the state were showing up to help clean up, and it was just it was just a great response.
Although many businesses survived the flood of 2019, one business did not. That would be the only bar in town, Whiskey River Bar and Grill.
We had the flood in 2019 that wiped out a lot of a lot of businesses had damage from that too. But they sold it, and someone else started it at that time, and then she got out of the business. But the gal who owns it now they're supposedly rebuilding it. So we're just kind of waiting to see what happens with that. It's been a couple of years now. So
Around 2020, Carey decided to take matters into his own hands and obtained a liquor license for his store. So even without a bar, residents in Dannebrog can now enjoy liquor. Despite Dannebrog's small size, there has been 2 famous people who came from the village. The first would be Ken Jacobson, who was born in Dannebrog in 1945. In 1983, he became a member of the Washington House of Representatives, as well as in 1997, he became a member of the Washington State Senate. However, the other famous individual is held on a much higher pedestal.
Well, there's at Roger Welsh, he was just one of those, laid back, easygoing. Yeah. But he had passed away here probably about a year or so ago. Well, he had a TV show, and he went around to these small communities, and he interviewed everybody, and done little speeches and whatnot, talk shows.
In Dannebrog, it is common to have a large amount of pride for your Danish heritage. A way they celebrate this pride every year is by throwing a parade called Grundlovsfest.
it's started in 1984 is when the first that I knew that the town started picking it up again. It's a celebration of it's kind of like Grundlovsfest is like the Danish Independence Day when they became independent so we just kind of adopted that as our day for celebration. We do a little parade. It's not super long or anything like that, but it's a lot of fun. Kids get involved. We have lots of kids games. They do the fire department does demonstrations of Jaws and different things like that. They've done their water rescue suits, different things. The ball teams have done duck races. You can buy a ticket on a duck, different things like that. And we had a pizza eating contest this last year. That was a new one. So, and they do, we've had car shows. The Royal Coachmen out of St. Paul have come and done car shows the last couple of years. Tractor shows, I think they usually come here every other year. So that should be coming up this year. It'll be on June 1st.
Dannebrog may have various animals such as dogs, cats, birds, and raccoons. However, out near the river, there's a chance you may see an elusive 8-foot-tall, hairy ape. A few years ago, Carey and his cousin were hunting in the woods out by the river. As they were sitting in the cold blind, they began to hear many loud and strange animal noises. They were animal noises they've never heard before, and this is what Carey had to say about the encounter.
Yeah. Now, I'm not so sure if it was, but it just sounded, strange.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, that was exciting.
Carey's experience is the only known occurrence of this happening, so that never deterred him or anyone else from going back to the river. But who knows? Maybe there's a Sasquatch right outside the village. Many small towns in the United States could be missed, ignored, or forgotten. However, many of these towns can have an interesting history and colorful characters. Dannebrog is one of those unique and friendly places where no matter what, it can always feel familiar and like home.